Welcome to Pocahontas School District work session. Open up for Dr. Arbuckle.
This evening we have a couple of items on our agenda. First is we want to review where we're at right now with the building plan on the high school project. So Todd's here. Craig and Abby and I met with Todd. We've met a couple of times now. Looked at a couple of different things. Todd's gone back, made some changes that we requested. I thought I'd like the board to take a look at what we have. Obviously, if there are suggestions or things that you guys would like to see changed or would like to see addressed, that's, Todd will write all those down. We'll make sure that gets done. This evening, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at what the community is going to look at tomorrow, right, at the public meeting at 6 o'clock. So, and again, the idea, same thing we've talked about in this previous meetings, that this is really designed for the community to give feedback. My intention is not to get up and do a grand, 30-minute presentation. It's really, 10 minutes max, and then we're just going to lay out, we're going to have things laid out and just let them look at it, ask questions. Why do we do this? Why are you doing this? If they've got better ideas, and we want to write them down and incorporate all that. So that's really kind of where we're at tonight. I thought what we do is we just set up on a couple of these larger tables, or we can push these together so we've got a bigger workspace, and we just kind of stand up and kind of do it that way and look at things and have Todd answer questions. Maybe there's a couple of things he wants us to know about those. To begin with, that'd be great, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So really, this evening is sort of going to be up and moving and that kind of thing, if you're okay with that.
Were you wanting some of us to come to that tomorrow or stay away?
That is completely up to you.
Okay. I didn't know if you thought we needed to make a face or. I just don't want people really coming to me. I kind of think more questions and concerns should be directed to you. So I didn't know.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I do think, if there are people, to me, it's sort of yes, it starts at 6, but it's going to be a walk in, walk out. We're going to stay as long as people are there. So if somebody, like a couple of you want to come in at 6 and just listen, somebody else 6:15, 6:30. It's really informal in that area. Okay.
Where you having that?
Community center. 6 o'clock. All right, Todd, I'm gonna turn it over to you, man.
All right, where do you want to?
I'm okay. We'll just move over here and just kind of look around, and I'll move the recording device, and we'll go from there.
You want to just do it right there?
Oh, hang on there, yeah.
Maybe try to use these three. We can. It's really up to y'all. I can show you one board at a time.
That's fine.
So the site plan we are kind of talked about. This is where we've landed, put in the building here, the gym here, and the entrance of the gym is here. You can see the road comes around here, so it's fairly tight. But it's the gym probably won't get any bigger, but it could get, we might be able to get it a little smaller. Same thing with the school. I'm gonna, once we figure out how all the spaces and where you want them, I probably have the building a little bigger than it's gonna end up, I'm hoping. I got a little extra space, but I like to keep a little open space as we move things around, because inevitably if we move an 850 square foot space from the first floor to the second floor, but we take a 1,400 square foot room from the upper floor to the first floor, it gets tricky to balance all that out. So
What is the total square footage?
it's about 60,000 square feet for two floors. Yes, that's for this right here.
Now, will this close off this football entrance?
Mm-hmm.
For like public entrance?
Right here? You can walk under this, right?
You can't walk under. What it is this is down lower, so you come in on the first floor of the gym and you'd go down a level to get into the gym. So right now it's not. You're not able to walk under that.
So what would be the best spot to get to there?
I'd say just make it
Make it
to
one
one access,
entrance.
because
'Cause all
whenever
those
we
people
get rid
are-
of this, we can make this into parking also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might
There's
kind of
just,
change.
there's just so much parking over in this area that'd be, you know, gotta walk all the way around to there.
Well, but your majority of your football parking
Would move
would be
down.
It's still gonna stay there.
Still there.
And over there, right? And then your basketball parking is gonna be in here and
In the front.
in the front.
and even here.
Now, remember, there is some, when we looked at the traffic study, right, one of the things that that is in that traffic study, I wouldn't say we've talked about it, but is in that traffic study, is there is a recommendation to create a parking space structure right here.
So, and the city had talked about widening this road. So have we heard from them? Is that gonna interfere putting the gym there? I mean, I guess it can. I mean, it's running right with the complex that's already there.
Right.
Yeah, I figure if they're gonna go anywhere, they're gonna go towards the Agri building, because there's almost another lane right there
Yeah.
anyhow.
Well, and you come so tight right down here.
It's tight right there for sure.
What, and the square footage is 33.4?
Yeah,
93 full.
Now, we also have talked a little bit about reworking this area here to allow for buses, better access,
a
and
more radius here.
Now, will we be keeping this structure?
This has to come down.
Yeah, I think that gets demolished. So
Okay,
we
we
could
had-
put a lot of parking there.
Yeah, we talked once before about you need some room for central office staff, moving
Okay.
some of them there.
well, we have
Is that
talked.
a possibility?
We have talked about that. I think if we can move, and you'll see, I think we've got some space that we can move business out of here into here, and we still need to keep this building because of
Oh, yeah.
the computers and all that. So to me, this makes the most sense for that kind of move.
You could even turn,
I agree with that.
if this is all parking lot, you'd have a whole huge space here.
Correct.
Well, you got a lot of drainage right there,
Keep
That
those
drainage
kids from
is
crossing the
coming.
highway.
over there.
Well, that's the idea, right? Now, to
We're
your
talking about
point.
93.
To your point,
Forward.
one of the recommendations in that traffic study that the city did was widening, like taking, because that's part of the parking area right there, and coming down and doing it like that and widening that street that direction a little bit.
I think it makes sense.
Okay,
to me.
Todd, now, on our entrance to this whole entrance we had, will all this be taken out then?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, if all the buildings back here get demolished.
Okay, so actually, you've got that berm there. I'm
Yep.
concerned, will we need to bring a wall, retaining wall all the way down here?
Yeah, possibly, you know, we could, there's a
Down
berm there
to-
now,
to the end
we
of
could
it.
extend it, you know.
I could see that as possibly future expansion for the district,
Right,
you know, in years to come.
yep, that's what we're thinking too.
So that would be a definite plus.
We have, you know, we started out with a cafeteria and kitchen over here. We've moved it over here so we could have our loading dock right there. So
Right.
what we'll try and do is have the loading dock on this end in case anything ever gets built here, and you could still get the truck back there. So that's kind of
Right.
the idea right now. It's about the best place for loading without
How does-
having it on the front of the building.
How does the buildings connect?
You know, we could possibly,
There's a breezeway already.
yeah, right about here, you could actually connect the buildings if you want to. But there's a corridor in the side of the building that lines up with the entrance to this. So you come out and you go right in that. You'll see it on the floor plan.
Okay.
We could connect that if you don't want the kids to have to go outside.
Yeah, I think, don't y'all agree, those buildings need to be connected,
Yeah, so we can.
just the same.
Well, and I think that would be helpful for ADA, disability access, that kind of thing too.
Yep.
And there would be
Well-
access, you said it would go onto a different level, so we'd have disability access from the school to the
Yeah,
gym?
right now we're talking about, we could put the elevator in this connector piece. That way, you only have to have, you have one elevator. Instead of having it in the lobby, you could have it here and it could actually connect the
Both.
first, it would be like a 3-stop elevator.
Okay.
This would be at the lowest level, first floor of this would be kind of the middle, and then there's a second floor. That elevator could connect.
Okay.
What's our plan on the displacement of the kids? Have you already got a plan in place?
Well, I mean, do we have a plan? Yes. Is it the plan I would advocate that we go with? I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
You know, I
But you
think,
feel confident we can accomplish that?
Yeah, remember Craig talked about that.
And leaving that back, he
Well-
said leaving that back hall would help.
well,
if we
and
waited.
that's, see,
Yeah,
that's a,
that'll stay until
Until-
the,
right, that's the question, right? Is if we can keep this and utilize all of this through the majority, you know, 85, 90, 100% of the project, then yeah, I mean, we'll have no problems there.
Well, you know, one thing that came before, and I'd already thought about it, and I'm sure Chad is, well, when they come in to do demo, they're going to want to do it all. Because if not, you have to pay for setup, correct? Again,
yeah,
I mean, you'd have to do setup twice.
they probably would have to do demo twice on this job, and it will cost a little bit more, but that's how
How
you
much
do
is
it.
a little bit?
It could be $10,000-$20,000.
But it'd save even buildings. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd
I
have
mean, that's
to.
the thing, as long as to
Save
your
you
point,
from
as
renting.
long as it's
Yeah.
equal to what you're gonna pay in rent,
Yeah.
then,
Well, I mean, I was just talking about keeping the gym and
Yeah.
that math and science, but until we get this.
Correct, yeah.
Before,
You can bid
they
it
just
all out.
really didn't want to do that.
Well,
It's
remember,
gonna
we had
cost-
talked about, we'll have this gym still until that one's complete, so that, you know, and it's like,
Well, and that-
if you're gonna keep this gym, you're gonna keep this too,
Yeah.
until,
But,
you know, you get the
what,
front.
yeah, I agree, and we need to do that, but what Navajo said is when they come into the setup, they're bringing all that heavy demolition stuff. They have to do it again, so they have to charge us again.
Or, I mean, it's gonna
If
be
it's
our
only-
most cost-effective way to.
If it's only $10,000 to $20,000.
I think for displacement purposes, that's the way we need to do it anyway.
What you
Even
can
if it
do is
costs more.
you can bid out all the demo together, so you'll get a little bit of a better price by they'll kind of offset that mobilization. If you were to demo, bid these out separately, the whole thing might cost more, but there wouldn't be a second mobilization fee. But if you bid it all out together,
Bid it all out at once, but two separate instances,
Yeah.
you know.
It-
And
That'd
I
be great,
understand
we
that on
could
the
keep
front end bid.
that whole wing plus the gym until we got the other done. Man, that's a win-win for the kids.
we've definitely done that before. We just kind of have
That'd be
two
great.
phases of demo.
Well, one of the things we were talking about connecting, and I've got a question with some gentlemen the other day, we were talking, and one of the things that was brought up was the safety issue. Are y'all planning on safety aspects? And I said, yes. Our goal is to have the kids in the building, and they wouldn't have to go to anywhere but business or ag drive. And now we're gonna eliminate that, so that's.
it looks
You
like
know,
we're
for the
gonna be able
most
to.
part, we'll have our kids enter
Yeah.
here and enter here. We
Well,
could
this
have-
way you could connect. I mean, they could go to band this way. They won't even have to go to the front of the building.
Yeah.
You could go to band and Agri.
And band, I forgot about band, they do have to go to.
You know,
That would be
working on all
the
that.
benefit of moving
Use
this-
these indoors and the student lounge and different things, it's the main
The
entrance.
back side. Yeah.
Well, we got that space there between the gym and the building now the kids could utilize as an outside space. Could we possibly have an outside space for the kids?
Well, once the demo's out. do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just gonna be vacant land.
Yeah, there'd be an opportunity here or over here. This is fairly close.
We even have some teachers, take their classes out there.
Watch the man fall off.
In that, in that,
Says there was no building died.
what do you call
We
that?
looked and watched it.
Well, atrium area.
Seriously. They really utilize that.
He fell flat on the
That
car.
looks good, 94.
You're in school.
Yeah, we were at lunch.
All right, we keep going?
Sure.
A lot of slides here.
So this is the first floor. And, we've kind of been moving things around, but generally speaking, the front entrance is right here. You walk into a lobby and you'd have a buzzer door and a bulletproof window right there. And so this is the admin area in this area. As you move through the building, we've got the cafeteria over here, which gets the kitchen in this area. Allows us to have our food here and our dry food storage. So food could get delivered and go right into the dry food storage and the walk-in coolers. Right now I've got the choir room right here, which could be a setup space to have access to the stage. So that would be kind of handy, you know, you can use it as choir, but if there's an event going on the stage, you have some easy access. And it also isolates the,
We will have a stage.
yes, sir. So it also isolates the vocal for acoustics, so it's not right next to other classrooms. And then you kind of have a hallway here that has special ed in this area, some bathrooms. I like the idea of we have to have one more lab, a science lab, so I kind of like having it close to the other labs. And then there's a couple classrooms there. And then right now I got a stair here, and these were more to serve the second floor so people can get out. I've got kind of what we call a monumental stair in the front, so when you come in, we could make that kind of nice and make it a feature. And then we're still kind of developing this, but this gets into that connector over to the gym. So I'm not done with that yet. It's just kind of how it worked out right now. But this connector piece maybe needs to kind of slide, because it'd be better if you accessed it over here. So.
ISS being up by the principal.
Yep.
That miss the
Well, just
elevator.
segregate it to all the other kids too, like
Yeah.
there's not.
Yeah, and they've got
just
a way
another hall
over here
for-
too, so.
What
it's-
about the elevator? Where's it?
The elevator's in this connector piece over
Okay,
here.
okay.
You'll, yeah, it might, I don't know if I'll actually have it on the plan, because the plans get cut off right on that connector piece, but
Okay.
I can kind of show you on the site plan later. But that connector piece probably will kind of move as we get the gym figured out, but,
I know we had talked about, I don't know if this is long ago, but a bathroom issue for that back hall.
yes. we
Since
can-
this would be like all the way up and all the way down for teachers.
Gotcha, so you want some more bathrooms?
I mean, I know that the teachers have voiced that it takes them a long time to go from their room to the bathroom.
I'll bet we could get one here or here, you know, those mechanical electrical rooms can be, you know, we can figure out, we're not sure how much that will need.
Talking
The
about for
storage
just
room-
the faculty.
Yes,
Okay.
like the teachers on that back hall have said it, I mean, it takes quite a while to leave their classroom to go to the bathroom and be back.
I might be able to like put a wall right here and get a couple right in there, so. Get a couple of single toilet little rooms. But yeah, I'll make note of that. Any other comments on this floor before we look at the
Well, and Todd, I think you said, like, these spaces, as you continue to finagle that, that'll be space that's
Yeah,
usable.
we'll get rid of them. There might be, you know, if becomes a bathroom, then we might need an electrical room somewhere else, you know. But yeah, at the end, I've still got to get building structure into design, so that kind of stuff, we'll get it worked out. But yeah, there's a few spaces that are not accounted for right now.
So we have to have another science lab? Do we need another science lab?
The state says yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as far as like our classes go, it would just be a usable space?
Yeah, so the way I'm envisioning this right now is this would not necessarily be a classroom that somebody like, this wouldn't be Jennifer Rawls' classroom or
Okay.
Autumn Vickery's classroom, right? This would be a standalone lab. These would be science teachers. You'd have science teachers over here, and you could set up the lab and then just leave the lab set up,
Gotcha, okay.
right? And now these two teachers are able to go in, take their kids down there, we do the lab, and then they come back.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more like a college feel, where it's you go into the lab, you do the lab, and then you
You're
go
not
back.
sitting in the lab for your
Right,
class?
right.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, we've got all the special ed grouped together, and on the first floor, we kind of like the idea of
Like I say, where that other gym is with your access here, it will have to be a parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it comes up to basically probably about right there where the gymnasium is.
Second floor then. So the second floor has a lot of classrooms up there. You got the stairs here. I've always got if I have a long corridor, I've got to have a stair at the end, so, and I created a corridor here so we don't have a big, long dead end. I'm still trying to get things worked out. But right now, I've got the reading room in this corner. It's kind of a big space, so it works well in the corner, so.
Is that a library?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, the library, you bet.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
This is some classrooms here. This is kind of a floater right now that, it's not a required space. That could be something else, but it could end up, possibly being mechanical, or not all of it, but, we have some spaces that we might need later. The art room's up here. This is a multi-use room, and that's what the state calls it. I don't really know what you guys will do with it, but it's just a required
That on the
space.
POR.
Yeah. And then classrooms. So all these are 850 square foot classrooms.
So this is home ec. We currently have 2 home ec teachers. So would they have a classroom, or would they?
Okay, well, here's the other thing we have to remember is home economics is no longer like an H2 program
Right.
and that kind of thing. So we have to sort of think about what is, because if we're gonna do a food space, then we have to build what the POR says we're gonna have to build, right? And yet, right now, there's only, in essence, one class for foods, and it's an elective class that's taken as a junior or senior, right? The initial class is more like a pre-educator space. So yes, that can happen in just a regular classroom, right? So I wonder is, are we better off, or what's the thought process about like replicating the East program at the high school? Because that's something that seems to really be taking off down here. Kids enjoy it, they're excited. I mean, they went and did a whole presentation to Rotary the last week on that. And so what does that look like to maybe reallocate some of this space to allow for some of those STEAM-based programs?
Yeah. Because I wonder how much we're actually using the food kitchen. Because this is 2 different buildings right now, right? Between sewing and, there's 2 different home ec buildings, right? Yeah.
Yes.
My memory's not good, Chris. What do you think about this later?
So going back to the first floor plan, where is the safe space for the tornado shelter?
Gym.
Is that
Gym.
what?
Well, it could potentially be in this space.
Well, no, Craig.
What about
As an additional to the gym,
Possibly that might be all you need.
Yeah,
It's
we don't
dependent on the count. We haven't gotten quite that far yet. The state fire marshal tends to change how you count how many kids how much space you need to provide, and he's kind of been changing it. So I can't tell you how many.
It's hard to predict that
Yeah,
number.
Right.
but right now, but I'll start looking at that, but just we're working on Rector's High School, and their cafeteria space that's also a auditorium is big enough. We've made it big enough to be the tornado shelter.
will that affect our funding so far as they're giving us on the gym?
No,
Okay.
no. They-
What about how many classrooms are in the science, math and science room right here? We already have.
8?
6.
So 6 plus 12 is 18 classrooms. Can we count that science one on the first floor? Those
Did
two
you count
science-
the classrooms on that floor too?
There's 2.
Okay.
There's 2 and there's 12, that's 14 plus 8, 22.
But you technically got to count the vocal, the science lab, the ISS room. I mean,
So 22 classrooms with what, 512 high school students? What is it?
I think you're required to have 16 regular classrooms, and there's 4 in that building, that's why we have 12.
I mean, I guess this is enough to bring the ninth grade
Bring
up
ninth grade
and
up.
everything.
Yeah, and again, I know the idea is to get as much under one roof as we possibly can.
We grew 30 students.
But yeah, I think there are gonna be some things that are still gonna be housed in this building that'll help alleviate some of that. Unfortunately, but.
And the thing we have to remember is the state's not giving us any money if we, like, they're not going to go along with us and say, well, here's some extra money if you grow 30 students. I mean, we have to build what we.
Well, I can
need
understand
right
a
now.
lot of wasted space, or, you know what I mean, various areas that you could probably get another classroom. or
Yeah,
two.
we can. That
I
business,
mean, it makes the students walk around, but, you could consolidate a few of these,
What's the height in these that you've got between floors?
it'll probably end up being about 13 to 14 feet.
Is that the same as the elementary?
We don't have a second floor at the elementary.
Is that, but the ceiling height at the elementary?
The ceiling heights on this, maybe are 9 feet, so.
So you're 9 foot, and then you got about a 3-foot gap between the next
So
floor.
there's enough room for ductwork and then a
What
floor.
about corridors? How, since it's a high school, are they wider?
Yeah, they're 8 foot
8
wide.
foot? We're not gonna have lockers, is that correct?
Not planning to.
Okay.
Does anybody use lockers now? I don't think so.
I've had some parents complain about
Not getting a locker.
that their kids have to carry their books every day or
I
something.
think they can elect to get one.
Yeah, I think
Another 5 years, there won't be any books.
It's the 2-inch binder, the 2-inch binder, the 2-inch binder from the teachers that's heavy.
Moving on.
You bet.
Wait, wait. You hear my issue is again about the bathrooms. So these teachers on the second floor have to come downstairs? I just don't want it to be
Sure.
built and then they'll be like, well, we don't even have any bathrooms up
No,
here.
no. We could certainly get some this is, as Chad was saying, there's some extra space here.
Makes it sound
In
like
that
I really
bathroom?
care about that, but I
Oh,
just hear
that's-
complaints.
We
We're
can
talking about
certainly,
staff.
Yeah.
Staff,
I will
yeah.
get a couple more staff
Yeah, I
bathrooms
think
on
that's a
second
good
floor.
idea.
Yeah. I just, this is your classroom and you're having to come down and then go all the way up here or wherever, I just,
Yeah.
Is that what you told the officer you were trying to find a bathroom?
he pulled me over for no reason.
No, we will definitely get some bathrooms up there. So this is where we're at with the gym. The good thing about this plan right now is we could literally just take these off. We've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 locker rooms without it. So we may need more bathrooms because I may not have enough. And that
Can hurt you.
and that's, yeah, but anyway, so these could possibly go away, which could take off a decent amount of square footage. But right now, we have fixed seating here, and it'll turn. This little area here, those are actually telescoping bleachers, which will fold up against that wall, but there's some seats above. I've got a plan of that seating. But the seating wraps all the way around 3 sides. Right now, it's got a little extra seats. We're shooting for 1,800. And I'll talk more about the seating when we look at the bleacher plan, but we're probably a little high on the seat count. There's some things we can do to get it down. But anyway, fairly simple plan as far as, locker rooms underneath the bleachers. These could become tornado-safe areas if we don't have enough in the cafeteria. There's no windows in them and minimal doors to get in, so you basically could just take this perimeter, make it a
Well, I can see graduation on a rainy night in there.
Could you turn some of these spaces into an additional classroom instead of taking them out, just making it,
Yep, they could be
like you
classrooms.
could have
Is this
like,
designed after Cave Cities?
No, we kind of started with Truman's.
It reminded me a lot of Cave Cities when I looked at it.
I've designed quite a few gyms, and I've realized there's only so many different ways you can do them.
Yeah.
There's about 3 or 4 different kinds, and they all sort of end up being similar, but,
But if we would have seating around, like Truman's comes out.
yeah, Truman's is like this.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I like-
Truman's doesn't connect. Like,
Yeah.
So, Gary, what we started looking at was what you're gonna see underneath here, that's what Barn Hill looks like over at the U of A, right?
Right.
Where it's all one story, but they've got seats. Actually, Barn Hill's got seats all the way around.
Right.
And it uses this space to get extra seating, because one of the pieces of feedback that I have gotten from multiple people is, you know, not only do we want to make sure that we have, you know, the 1,800 seats we need for a state tournament, but what happens if AAA says, well, instead of 1,800, we want you to have 1,900?
Yeah.
Right? And if we can build some of these wings that allow for extra seating, that's good. The other thing I like about it is there's no other gym in Northeast Arkansas that has that set up, right? And I like the unique piece, right? I like that piece of what has Pocahontas got that nobody else has got.
So this would be, I'm assuming this is a step up
Yeah,
to
that's
the
right.
bleachers.
That's how we have it right now. You go up a few steps and all this is concrete, but you get up,
So
it raises up the
There's an up
seating.
and
people
down
would come
ramp
down,
here.
and what is going to be between, is there going to be a wall here?
No, the guy that colored it, I'm not sure why I didn't just color it. That,
This would be like a fence, or like a railing, right?
there's a railing
So, where's the concession area?
right here.
Okay.
We put a hospitality suite here that would
Yeah.
have glass
Oh,
across here.
I see what you're doing now. I like that.
So with the other building disappearing, is this what visiting football teams would use as their locker rooms for? 'Cause don't they use the building that's getting torn down?
Yes. Well, no, actually, they use the weight room in the dungeon under the rock.
I know, but if isn't that space gonna be deemed not, does that not count for football teams? I mean, if we can't use it for children's space for anything, I would think that would constitute the same.
That's for educational.
That would probably be
Is it
that'd
not?
probably be a question that I'd ask Dr. Stein, quite
Yeah, I
honestly.
mean, I'm just asking. how-
Because-
To have an outside.
Well, that's what I was asking, because if you were gonna use this, I mean, I wouldn't want them to have access to any of that, maybe a door here to give them as little access to that as possible.
'Cause this
Or
would
even
be
get it where you
big.
could close this end off, so that way, that's the only space they, I'm just. I don't
Because
know if that's true or not.
here's the other
This is
thing,
the north
too.
side of the
We're
building,
not
correct?
putting kids in it for educational purposes.
Right, right. I mean, 'cause I know when it's a visiting team, you want them to have the crappiest.
Well, but if,
That's the point of
What
it.
do you mean, like national, like away?
my point is that may not count.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
So we might be able to continue
What
to
would
use
be-
that part of it.
Sure.
The difference here, how much distance in height are we talking? The top of the bleachers to the surface of the
The
floor?
top of the bleachers, I haven't cut a section through that yet, but,
This kind of reminds me a little bit of Hoxie's,
Well, this will be elevated.
or Walnut Ridge.
Is that seen, is that better seen on this
Yeah.
next one?
you can see all the seating on this next one.
So this is what we're looking at.
So you come up those steps and people just make their way up. But as far as how tall that is, I haven't looked closely at that yet, but we were just trying to get this to work out, you know, to get all the seating lined up. So this has to be high enough that you can get under it, so that's kind of our limiting factor. But
What, Greg, let me ask
8
you
inches per
this.
step, right?
When looking at that, how are you going to separate the student sections?
I would think it would be down here.
These are the telescoping.
Yeah, you don't want them together? You mentioned us and Highland both down there together?
Oh, no,
I
I thought we
mean-
were just talking about our.
There won't be a student section
Right.
for the opposing team. No. There'll just be a bleacher
They'll
section.
just sit where they can sit.
Visitor.
So I was,
Line up over there.
and this is just aesthetics wise, but you know how Highlands Gym, their end is all, they do their student section or whatever. There's none of these chairs at the end. So would it not be better to move these chairs all to the home side? Like,
No,
Just
they've
have
got,
bleachers.
and just
they've got a
get
section
rid of
both
the,
ends,
no, but they don't have the folding chairs.
the slide out bleachers.
No,
The
to the
telescope.
backs.
The chairs.
The chairs, like, if you're gonna spend a lot of money on
Oh, there's a chair
chairs, why
down there?
not fill up your home section of just
yeah,
chairs?
we don't have to have chairs.
Yeah, I would, for kids, I would make.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Unless they can tear it up.
And that way, I mean, and that way you're, at least your home I think Sloan Hendricks Gym is like that. Their whole home section is all chairs. And then the other one is like this. You just have a few
I would
rows and
say
then.
probably get as many rows as we can.
So go ahead and put chairbacks all
Yeah.
the way up?
No, well,
On the home side.
May not
Just
be
on the
all the
home
way.
side.
You know, like a lot of them will have, the top 2 or 3 would just be a bleacher.
It don't even have to be all, like he said, just the top 2 or 3 could be bleachers, but
Yeah.
like,
But it put as many as possible. But on the visitor side, I do like the idea of having.
Don't give them any chairs.
Well,
well,
I
like
like the idea
Sloan
of
has
having.
just that lower level of chair.
They don't make it comfortable whenever we go to theirs, I mean.
I just don't see wasting them down here because they're gonna get tore up.
No, I agree.
I mean, you got, I would think on the visitor we'd need some for handicap, those people that, you know, maybe have back problems.
Well, I mean, it's not uncommon on the visitor side to do, you know, just like shown here, 4 or 5 rows with the chair backs, and then the rest of it is just regular.
Yeah.
Usually you don't have that much.
Bench seating.
You take liable, they won't fill up the first 2 rows probably in the
Yeah.
basketball season.
What, you remember before we had really talked, I think the coaches we had really talked about how much distance we're gonna have from the bleachers to the kids that's on the sidelines. So have you kind of thought about that in this process?
You know,
We wanted that.
I drew about 8 feet, but, you know, if you guys need it bigger or smaller, you just tell me.
But this will be at a totally different level, like they'll be sitting down.
Yeah, they'll be
And this
down
is
below
up,
on top of
down below them. You won't even,
These kids, the bleachers right
They'll
here.
probably be
are
8
closed.
foot, they'll be 8
yeah,
foot or
it's
so.
not gonna be the same level,
They got
yeah,
that rail, you know, you gotta walk up the stairs and
Well,
you're up
good,
there.
good.
yeah.
Well, I know once before when it was straight, you know, the coaches, you know, we had really talked about this the last couple of years, to separate those kids from
Yeah.
the stands.
You know, some schools don't have, they don't raise it up, and gets you that right down on the floor. First few rows can tend to get blocked, you know, especially if you're behind the benches, you know, you can be blocked. One thing,
And there would be a railing there.
there'd be a railing. One other bonus about doing this is when you start that first row of bleachers up, say 3, 4 feet, you're starting up before you start your ascent. And so if you're trying to put spaces underneath it, you're getting to a place where you can get under the bleachers
lot quicker.
faster, yeah.
Right.
So there's an extra reason why this is good.
Well, I like that. I mean, that's
You
good
don't have to.
too. It causes that separation.
In this particular case, if we were to get rid of that, all these bleachers would go, you know, would be lower, would
Right.
minimize how much you could have under. But the other issue is, we may not be able to get any kind of that to work out because,
I like that.
like I said, to do that, you have to make it high enough that you can walk underneath it. So, just something to think about. If we do lower that, we'll probably lose those corner seats.
Will there be any goals on either side for practice?
Yes, we can do that. Because they're fixed, you won't have a very long court going this way, but a lot of schools do that.
Will there be a
To be able to shoot.
For the people up on the
free
top
throws.
row?
You can raise them.
Oh, they,
Yeah, you
they
just
would
raise
move
them up, I mean,
you move them up. And then the ones on the ends can either get raised up or probably wouldn't want it. I mean, we may need a little bit more room here if you wanted the kind of basketball goals that are portable.
And we are installing an air conditioner, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
That's the plan
No, it
anyway.
costs too much money.
That is
I
not
don't know,
what we're
I
gonna
think
cut
Coach Bill's
costs.
likes it hot.
Can't cut that.
So right now, we have a decent number of too many seats. I counted, the reason why we have that many is if I take this top row out, the only way I can start reducing this is by taking that top row out. If I take the top row out, I go under 1,800. There's that many, there's almost 200 and some people on that top row. However, one thing I didn't think about until just now is that top row, I think it actually might work out because I wouldn't be taking out this top row, I'd be taking out the second row, which doesn't have as many. So I'll look at that again. I might be able to stay above 1,800 and get rid of one row. Unless you guys want that.
Well, I was
many
gonna say, what's the purpose of taking out the road?
You save a little bit of square footage, but it's not a whole lot. So if you guys,
I don't think,
Just have
I
more
think the
seats.
more seats we have, the better.
That's what I think too.
If we're in the pool.
Especially when it comes to
Well, sure,
graduation.
yeah, we
Indoors
can,
again.
if we get to the place where we need to save a little bit of money and NAPOS thinks it'll save
I
it,
got
just
some
and
new
knock them out,
classes
we can look at
coming
that later on.
Run, hopefully we'll have bigger classes in the future.
Hey, if we got an air-conditioned gym and 2,000 seats, I'm for graduation every year in there.
Yeah, I mean, and then like I was telling you, we've got big classes coming up. That junior year, which is, they're not gonna benefit from this, but that junior class is big. So I really hope it doesn't rain. Yeah, it looks good.
I like what you
Looks good.
Yep.
Do you have any schematics as far as the exterior?
Well, I'm working on that, I'll have something for this meeting tomorrow night.
Okay.
What about,
Can you if you get those done, can you send them to Dr. Arbuckle and you send them out to us just so we can kind of look at it? Because that way we don't have people saying, well, it looks like a Amish church, or, we could,
It's really gonna be just a placeholder to give people,
Right.
let people visualize.
yes.
I'll try to keep it fairly simple.
The Amish
Yeah.
don't have churches. They need their own.
get it right, Brent.
Look like an Amish building.
Well, you have church.
They rotate through their homes.
Oh, they have church out here.
Well, the Mennonites.
They rotate through their homes.
Mennonites. we
They
have
have
oh,
They have a school out here.
Yeah, well, it's
They have church there
together.
on Sunday.
They rotate through their homes.
There's an awful lot of vehicles there on Sunday.
So are you window heavy or are we window light? Like in the building?
Oh, and the gym?
No, in like the building,
I would
the classrooms.
say-
I mean, do the classrooms have windows in them? or
Average.
Yeah, but not all of them, because some of them are inside interior.
Right.
But all the ones on the outside could have windows. As far as the front here, the windows if this was your tornado shelter, you can have windows, but they would be expensive.
Okay.
So minimal windows in this would be wise. You'll probably have some windows for admin, windows, and probably add some windows in the lab. This is just, probably don't need a whole lot back here. And then the second floor, probably a lot of windows, because the bulk of it's classrooms, so,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, probably have a decent number of windows.
Do those have to be, I mean, obviously like bulletproof, shatterproof, do they have to be specific?
They don't have to be.
The front side don't they?
They don't have to be, but a lot of, we got the bulletproof window in the admin, and there are bulletproof windows that cost quite a bit of money that you could get, or you can look at a film that can be applied to the window that's less expensive, but it still has to go inside the frame. So there's still, even that bullet-resistant film is kind of pricey. The best sort of cheaper alternative that we found is laminated glass, that you can shoot through it. It's not bulletproof, but it does keep people from getting through it. They could shoot through it, but if they were trying to beat it with a baseball bat, it takes them a while, and get the police there before they can get through. But yeah, it's.
I know that would be my question as a parent on safety, on that lower level, especially the lower level.
This will be set up similar to the way we did the elementary. We picked that up from Valley View.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't drawn in the plan. If they come in, they cannot get in the building
Yeah.
until they're let in by a staff member.
Yeah. I would say, we could just price bulletproof windows and bulletproof film. We could look at that. It's just about, you can do it, it's just about money.
Well, I think for that lobby area, I think we need to do it there.
Yeah.
That's the only place I would think it would be.
My biggest concern was everything exposed to the street, if someone was to pull up and try to,
At least that front of the building.
the front of the
Yeah.
So would this eventual access to, I mean, obviously this would be closed off. But you know how we put the fence up to close off the backside of MD Williams?
Yeah.
Does that have to happen anywhere here or on this side? Or down here? I mean, are we gonna have to put like fencing up, or are we good with just open?
And for safety, I would say back here, you know,
Yeah.
because we already got the gate over here.
Well,
I mean, you can.
the thing about, if you've got kids going to Agri and going to band, they're gonna be exiting one of these.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather on the
Yeah.
exit in between than in the front of the,
What's your thought?
Yeah, I think
Where would
you
you
need
want
to
them
take a sidewalk
to
through
move back and
there.
forth?
keep your kids out of the front
I'd say-
parking lot.
You know, our administrators better to answer that. How do they flow? What's the best
I
way?
mean, you definitely don't want them going through the gym to access anything
Right.
on the west side of campus.
And it makes sense if we're building all this, that they don't walk through the parking lot like they're doing now. I mean, to get to junior high or get to,
Yeah, the most logical way is where Chad pointed.
And there may be, I mean, because there's gonna be some major water
Yeah.
issues
Yeah.
going on there too, that they're gonna have to work through with
Well,
drainage.
all of
I
this,
don't know if
all of
that's
this
the
is gonna
place.
have gutters, you know, going down into drains. So, I mean, there could be a lot less water right here, you know.
There's kind of a dip already there.
How close would those two buildings be?
Right there,
Get to that level.
I would say that's about 15, 20 feet.
so it's just a breezeway really in some spots.
You know, we had problems up before, it flooded,
Well, by the time they get that building and everything backfilled and everything in it, hopefully, you know, we don't want to end up having to build a retaining wall to the sports complex.
yeah. I was just thinking of kids going to Agri and going to band or any other purpose to the junior high. I guess the junior high, they'll have to come out the front.
Which they already do.
They already do. And that's not too bad to come out here and walk around there.
Just now they don't have
I'll tell
that
you
big
what.
building to walk around, so it's easier
Why
to
wish
get
like
through.
the high school principal handle that problem? Where's he at?
You're gonna get questions about
Well,
the
like the
rock
initial-
building. So it's staying, but I mean, just future, we don't really know.
Well, I mean, there have been some, I want to say, conversations about, you know, putting some kind of use to it, which is great. We're just not going to be able to fund that with school district funds.
No.
Right? So if it's, like somebody said, a Pocahontas Hall of Fame, great. But there's going to have to be some
Some kind of
fundraising
grant.
done
Yeah.
to do that. You
So
know,
no funding can go into that building.
Correct.
Once we move out of it.
Well, I mean, like it could be we could turn it into a maintenance building, right? No, that's not necessarily true. You could use
Just can't put kids like-
funding to do that, just like we do with the bus barn or right? But, and Todd, this is where you're gonna have to jump in. My understanding is that to do any work on this building, it's gonna be a fairly expensive process.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to use it for, but if you were using that for people to be in it, the public or kids or anything more than maybe like a storage building, you could possibly be looking at having to bring it up to code. And it's currently not.
Way
it's just
behind.
Yeah, structurally, you know, it's not it doesn't meet any seismic codes, that's probably the most expensive part. So I'm not sure exactly what you'd have to do to bring it up to seismic code, but.
Is there any way we could get some kind of numbers on that? Just even rough estimate to give to the public, because they need to understand that even to house people in there for a Pocahontas Hall of Fame or a museum or whatever,
Yeah.
this is how much it's gonna cost just to let humans walk in there.
Yes.
It's just gonna be an existing building just sitting on the campus.
Yeah,
Well,
because
here-
that's the thing.
here's
I am
my-
gonna have a problem with that if
here's
it's
my
just a
thing,
building
and
that's
that'd be
just
great,
sitting
but-
there
Yeah.
with zero purpose because we can't
I
use
don't
it.
like the district, would have the liability.
100%.
I don't like that. You know, someone got hurt.
But like you said, if we had numbers where we could say, okay, here's this building, what do you wanna do with it? It's gonna cost this.
Yeah.
Well, I think before, we're talking somewhere in the $3 to $4 million.
Right,
Jesus.
that's where we were at before. You would have to come in with structural steel. It would basically, all the walls and the roof need to be supported
Yeah,
by a
because the
structural.
exoskeleton's not even in on that building.
It's load-bearing masonry and it's old, and it's wasn't probably built very safe from the very beginning. An earthquake could probably
Crumble it.
So we probably do need to look at moving to visiting football.
Well, and another thing was talked about, I know there was some concern before, you know, because we talked about different scenarios, you know, for the other project. But if you disturb this ground here, there is a possibility there could be some damage to this building. So I would like for the, you know, I think us get some thought into not holding any construction company liable for any damages that would occur because of that. I wouldn't want them to, you know, because they have concerns about it.
Well, the good news is that was an addition, that's not a super old addition that was built there, so.
Yeah.
At
Should
one
be
point,
all
there
right.
wasn't anything there. They could probably knock down that building and, you know, they can put in drill in some piers into the ground and
Stabilize.
protect that if you want.
Is that gonna be an issue, putting both football teams down that close to each other in the middle of the game?
Do I?
For halftime?
No need for that much effort.
But that can come later, right? We can
Yeah.
just leave it and just deal with it on a later date, once
Not
this
saying
project is
30
done.
Years ago, that could have been.
Craig, what about, could we utilize this for the visiting team? Is it big enough?
Yeah, that's
It
something.
used to be that,
I'm
didn't
gonna
it?
say, when I was at Truman, this is where we dressed.
Yeah.
That's where I would prefer to utilize that for the visiting teams. I mean, we go other places like Gosnell, they dress on the bus.
Did you go to Nashville? They had them in like some camp up in the woods. Like they had to like go way far away.
But I would rather than take them all the way over there. I like the plan.
Make them walk up that hill.
Yeah,
Wear them out a little bit,
Wear 'em out a little bit
halftime.
more.
Yeah, it looks good.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Good start.
Good,
Be some bugs to work out, but that's any project.
yeah. Yeah, we're really just getting started, so.
Yeah, we just need the money.
My biggest thing is questioning that
Hear that?
food prep.
Get the money.
Food prep and sewing and making a decision before we put all that money into a kitchen. 1, 2, 3, 4 kitchens.
Yeah, you could build just an empty space, call it, you know, I don't think you have to build any of that stuff. If you're planning on, say, using it for an E-slab, you know, you could
Yeah.
just have a big open space, we don't have to build any of that stuff.
One other question, I know this, we'll think about later on, but I don't Craig, you know, how much stuff can we utilize out of our building? Can we utilize any of the kitchen equipment? Can we
Carry that
utilize-
kitchen equipment there from one home.
Yeah, you know, 'cause that's a big item, that's a big money item. 'Cause, I mean, we might could gain a few thousand, or maybe a few $100,000.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, we haven't had that conversation. I haven't even thought about that at this point. But, I mean, we can certainly start thinking about that.
But I would keep that
Doubt any of that
thought.
stuff's
Right.
even new enough to be moved.
We can always replace this stuff later
It
on.
was
but
old when I was in there.
To get in the new house, we might need to take the old.
Yeah, well, I will say this, I'll say it this way. I don't want to just do a blanket, we're going to buy all new stuff. Because I think,
There may be stuff that we got that's 3 or 4 years old.
I think we dealt with the ramifications of that when we did the demo for Alma Spikes. And I don't want to be dealing with that again. So,
Well, you're definitely gonna wanna do Venahood and stuff like that, because that's built into the building.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tables and all that. But some of, you know, those kitchen appliances are
Mixers
high-dollar
or
stuff. If we could utilize, if it's not.
Are you talking about for the cafeteria?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the kitchen equipment can run on a school like this, $400,000.
And all like smart boards and things like that can be moved over. They don't have to be just abandoned.
I would think so,
And
yeah.
we're in a really good place with like desks, with your cafeteria tables and stuff like that at the high school.
Yeah.
And those are, it's a big cost.
So
Expensive, yeah.
as you know, that's on a rotational basis every, 5 to 7 years? So you gotta think 10 years down the road, you know? Everything's gonna be phased out, like desks and chairs and all that.
I'm
New
almost
stuff thrown
certain
in.
Abby can vouch for it. No,
I just wanna get in the new
same
house
tables.
and be able to afford.
Okay, anything else, questions you have, or things you want to talk about on this?
Good start.
Well, I can tell
Yeah,
you.
I like it.
they're not the same tables as whenever I
Well,
was.
it's because you're old.
Gary, you didn't even have tables here, did you?
Sat outside, picnic lunch.
We had to bring it on our horse.
I'm not that bad. I did have tables. The seats were blue though. I remember.
What kind of horse did you ride straight when you kids? Dennis Hope used to give me, he had to go see Dennis, same class.
Yeah.
Hey Craig, is there a reason we got somebody out here walking the dog around the circle?
This is Grand Central Station up here. Everybody be amazed.
I don't care about the details.
I can see a kid stepping, I can see a kid stepping in dog shit and running in there.
Somebody rolling with the game the other night. Junior high game, that over at practice field. Yes.
Right after we built it.
How's everything about it? That's not even tornadoes, so
You know, we covered, it would make sense to.
Yeah, the cafeteria would be the best one.
see if you got it.
On the lower, we make y'all stop.
Appreciate it.
I said, go get your desk.
Okay, I won't keep us here much longer. I did want to just share the, or take a look again at the strategic plan. And I thought I'd just talk through real quick a couple of things that, that we're doing and kind of bring you back to what this says and how we're addressing some of the items. So I thought we'd just kind of look at the first three goals in that first priority. You know, I think it was at the last regular board meeting, I think it was, or maybe it was the time before that, we looked at some of our test scores. And obviously, you know, there's a lot of work that we're doing on those. So I thought I'd just kind of walk through a few of these. You know, goal one here talks about a cycle of improvement. So how are we looking at or tackling the improvement for our kiddos? And so when you start looking at that first action, teacher training and embedded coaching, you know, that is something that we're doing through, or we have done and are continuing to do through CKH. I also am working with Bailey. We're going to have 5 days of coaching specifically for our building principals, because one of the things that I believe wholeheartedly in is that our buildings are going to be as successful as our building principals are successful. And so we can't forget the training of those building principals. So Bailey's going to come in. I've been working with Ivy and her team. We've identified a coach that's going to come in, and the first visit on that will be next week, September 15th. So that coach is going to come in. We're going to meet as a admin team for about an hour or so, and then that coach is going to spend an hour and a half with each building principal talking about what are their goals for their building, what are they, you know, how can that coach be beneficial to them. And then throughout the year, about 4 more times throughout the year, that coach is going to come and meet with those building principals one-on-one to make sure that we're making progress in those plans. And so I'm really excited about the opportunity to get our building principals some personal coaching on that world. And I know that in talking with them, they are also anxious about or excited about that as well. We're working through the collaborative team. I wanted to kind of jump down to the implement high quality literacy instructional models. You know, again, going back to the work that we've been doing in K3. We started that really in May, as soon as school was out last year, identifying what are some of those things? What are some of those standards, those best practices, those essentials that each grade level, I think that's the key part, right? That each grade level, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, really needs to focus on, and where are the holes, and how are we as classroom teachers, how are we as educators, how are we as administrators supporting those, closing those gaps, if you will. And so that's really, I think, an important piece to that. You know, as I mentioned, we're working on those collaborative team meetings, getting that schedule out. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but Craig and I have both been in classrooms, both been looking at you know, what's going on, how do we support our new teachers. I know it's related, but it really fits better in a later spot. But we spent I don't know, a couple of hours with the co-op really talking about how do we as administrators support our Pocahontas teachers, our new teachers, our mentor teachers. What does that look like? And so Craig's in the middle of putting together really a packet, or a package, if you will, of tools, of resources that we can give our mentor teachers, that we can give our brand new teachers, and say, okay, in Pocahontas, this is how we do school, this is how we do instruction, those kind of things. And so that's sort of a work in progress. That's something that we'll bring to the board and let you take a look at it as we put that together. When we start thinking about, let's see, which one I wanted to look at here, collaborative teams, that's something we're still working on. Oh, the RTI, that was what, all schools provide, I'm looking at page 5 there, all schools provide time during the school day to provide RTI and extension. So you may remember that we have that, for example, Redskin time, I think is what we're calling it at the high school and the junior high. We also have What I Need and the Win time, or trying to think of what the elementary school calls it. It escapes me all of a sudden. But these dedicated times for teachers to work with kiddos on the things that they struggle with. And so I'll give you an example. At the high school, they've really embraced this to the point of Christian is in a classroom during Redskin time teaching, taking kiddos through math concepts, right? So from the principal on down to classroom teachers, that is something that's going on at the high school, because, that is something that, one, needs to happen, but two, Christian is doing an excellent job of modeling for his teachers that everybody's all in. It's not just the classroom teachers. It's not just it's from the principal on down. And so I really, I think that's exciting, and I really commend them for taking that on. So, do I now? That's right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to pay off dramatically for our kiddos. The other thing is, I'm looking at page 6 when we start talking about the STEAM projects, and Mr. Linder and I have continued to talk about what is that STEAM experience going to look like for those MD Williams kiddos. You will be at our next, my goal is for the board to approve the budget at next week's meeting. You will see, if you dig into that, or when you dig into that, you will see that we have addressed the budget at MD to ensure that those kiddos have the resources they need, whether it's for programming or whether it's for robotics. That the idea is we're trying to create a space where those kiddos are excited about what they're doing, they're excited about coming to school, and then there will be themes and things like that throughout the year. And so I think that's an exciting opportunity. Again, in looking at our school plans, we want to start considering right now what does the Project East look like at the high school? Like, how are we planning for that? Even though we're a couple of years out from that, we need to make sure that we've got a plan, because our 9th graders are really liking that over here. Our 7th or 8th graders, they need to be able to have access to that as sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And I think it'd be good for the community as well. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that real quick. We will continue to dig into this, and I'll bring more things, and we'll have a conversation, a little bit larger conversation about not only what are we doing, but together, I want to make sure I'm getting your thoughts on what do we need to do, right? I don't want this to be just something I bring to the board and, hey, this is what we're doing. I really want this because you guys are hearing this from your kiddos, you're hearing this from the community. So what are the places, the gaps that we need to fill, and how do we use the strategic plan to do that? So that'll be an ongoing conversation. The only other thing I wanted to say, and it's not on the agenda because I pulled it kind of late, but as of today, our free and reduced lunch population, we are 71.7% is our free and reduced lunch number. So it's over the 70%. That's great, right? And it won't get any lower than that. It might get a little higher than that because we're still working through our students, but it won't get any lower than that, which means we're hitting that 70% threshold, which, this year we got a third more dollars in that ESA, state ESA money because we were over that 70%. That means next year we'll get 2/3 more, right? That's why that's important. Now, the other piece to that is, and I don't know if I've shared this with you, but I've visited with Victoria, and our goal is if we can get that number to 76%, then I would like to ask the board to consider allowing us to pursue a CEP certification. What that would mean is every kiddo eats free, right? I'm not going to ask us why 76%, because that's where we'll break even as a district. It won't cost us any more money than we're spending if we can get to about 76% to feed every kid for free. So, but we're on our way. Last year it was right at 70%. This year we're almost 2 percentage points above that. So we're making progress. My goal is if we can't get there this year, within the next year or two, so maybe 27, to be able to look at that
So what you're saying is you think it's there, it's just a matter of getting the paperwork?
I do think it's there. It's a matter of convincing our public that filling out that form is a good thing. Because I think a lot of people, they come at it, well, I'm not gonna fill out the form because I know I won't qualify. But they don't even give us the chance to try to qualify them.
I think a lot of people don't realize that they qualify because some of those, like people that their husband works on the boats, if they fill that out correctly, they'll qualify for free and reduced lunches because they're working off, they're gone.
Right.
And so there's those loopholes that they're missing.
Right. But I'm excited about where we're at. I think it solidifies us for the 26, 27 school year. But if we can just tick that just a little bit higher, then we'll be able to provide that free breakfast and free lunch for every kid. That's our goal. So, any questions? Anything that the board wants to talk about? Okay, then